Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats at chess.com to continue my video series on the correspondence team match played between my video lessons group and the team CARPE DIEM. This was played on board 183. Our man is Mr. Freeze 20 versus Prangsta, and about a mid 1600 versus mid 1400 rating advantage thereabouts. Let's have a look at these two games. Okay, Sicilian defense. White didn't want to play the Smith more for whatever reason, but bringing the queen out's premature. A good move, just go back into mainline with knight f3, and if black tries to hold on to his pawn, then you can play c3, and black's going to be in a bad variation of the Smith-Morra gambit. Okay, little trick there. But taking with the queen just means your queen's going to get tempoed, and here I was talking about there being a bad variation of the Smith-Morra. Why is this not bad for black? Well, it's because white doesn't have this open c-file, because he didn't gambit that pawn. This knight is not sitting there developed, and then white can get all kinds of tricks using the d5 weakness and pressure on f7, yada yada yada. Okay, so it has to do with development. Okay, so but this pawn structure is completely satisfactory for black in a Sicilian defense. And what does white do? What's the move I've been criticizing virtually every other video? He pushes his rook pawn. Why? What? Black is not interested in checking you, and he's not interested in putting a knight here to threaten a fork. Okay, black's not interested in either of those moves, and both can be easily defended against. What black is interested in doing is developing his pieces. You wasted a move and you've weakened your queenside pawn structure. Okay. Could have had an extra piece developed, but you don't have it developed. All right. Now, here we have a typical Sicilian structure, Boleslavsky, whatever you want to call it. Bishop d2. White's not showing which side he wants to castle. I don't think this was the best score for the bishop. I think e6 directly is better. Or go ahead and kick this bishop and see where it's going to go. Get a rook over to the c-file when you can. Make sure a7 is safe. Bishop d7 didn't feel like the right square. And look what white does. Oh my goodness, h3. Well, I guess it fits with what white wants to do here, because white wants to castle queenside and start a kingside attack. But these are moves you don't need to make. Okay, develop first. You can play them later. White wasn't planning to go to g4 at all. Okay, he wasn't. Trust me. Okay, now black compounds the error. This is a bad move too. Okay, what you've just done is you've encouraged the white pawn storm to come, and tension is going to come sooner. If this pawn stays on h7, there's no tension. White is going to pry open a file quickly. Okay, and you've just negated whatever advantage you got out of these moves. Okay, because now white's going to pry open a file. Okay, and they play a couple other moves. But now he puts the bishop on e6 and the bishop retreats. And usually when black can get d5 in a Sicilian defense, he's or even in a double king pawn opening, and that's what this kind of looks like. Black has got equality, and that's what he has. But notice there's one thing missing from white's game. Why hasn't white tried to play g5? It's a good question, isn't it? That's his plan. We'll go back and look at that in just a moment. Why do you say in just a moment? Well, you'll see why. Okay. Not because of that. It's because of what happened here. White lost on time in a playable position. I guess this needs to be played, and I suppose black is going to take here. How do you evaluate something like this? Well, the queen has to find a home. Let's see, a4 is safe along the fourth rank. There's a check on c4 if you want to keep the bishop on the board. Uh, check. I don't know what's best here. Let's see. King here. Now back the queen up. Now you got to watch out for tricks. White's doubled. Knight d4. Double attack on this, attacking the queen. I don't know. I mean, it's a completely playable game. With White losing on time, there's no way to see what could have happened. We don't know what moves the players would play, and I'm just kind of giving some ideas if you want to keep analyzing this. Okay, let's see. You take. He has to take back this way. If you take with the queen, now maybe black or white wants to get queens off. Although I don't know why. He's got an open G file. Let's let the light squared bishops come off. Let's back the queen up to what I'm going to put her on E3. Although we do have to be careful. There might be some potential problems with a pin. Not now, but there might be. I mean, just to give you an example, suppose there's a trick, and if white plays, which he won't, suddenly this comes in. Whoops! I mean, there's all kinds of tactics you have to be on the alert for. And this is kind of how you get a feel for a correspondence game. You sit down and you look at these things and you evaluate them. The queen can go to E2, and these dangers are gone of the pin. And I'm kind of liking to go here for the fun of it, just because I can. But let's see, maybe that entails giving up a pawn. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Now I have a check. That sends this over. White's won a pawn. I mean, I don't know what would happen. Maybe black can't play knight d4. I'm just analyzing it, but let's back it up. I mean, it's really pointless to see what could have happened because the game had a lot of fight in it. But the moment white played g4, he's ready for his kingside attack, and he never played g5. Okay, get the king safe first. Now he saved the bishop. I guess he had to. I guess black's doing a little bit of play, getting some place. They didn't really quite have time for EG5 yet. So maybe the mate threat is not the best. Just go ahead and play this move, okay? Because I think this is going to force a file open. You could play H5, but there could be some evil here. G6, let's see. In Fine's middle game of chess, he talks about if you want to trade these off, you advance the pawn to blockade it first, so it can't push by. So the logical move might be to play rook G1. And we're not trying to get our attack off and running just right now. We can build up to it. This might be a logical move to continue that. And then what black should be doing is getting ready to run his own. Now let's go ahead and look at this. Now this comes up, and we're going to play this. Let's try to get a knight to C4 just because we can. And now this threatens to win a pawn, right? Because of the pin. So suddenly, looks like the white attack is coming a little quicker than black's attack. But one thing about what white's done, here's that rook pawn move. If white doesn't play accurately, play directly for the attack like he should, and black gets his attack running, white has made this weakness. See, here's another reason why you don't want to push your rook pawns. You're bringing the tension closer. Especially here, you don't have to block the pawn because when you get b5 in, you're attacking a piece at the same time. You're forcing an open file. Moving your rook pawns, folks, it's not good. Okay? I don't know how many times I have to say it. I don't know how I'm going to cure it. It's widespread. Nobody played like this Nobody played like this in all the years of tournament chess I played. They didn't push their rook pawns. It's an internet-created defense created by people that learned to play blitz, learned chess by playing blitz, ran into problems with bishops and knights running into those squares, and they've been terrified ever since. So they just play them on instinct. Trust me, the two pawn moves are no good. They're going to lead to all kinds of problems. And sacrifices on that square, weakening the B3 or G3 or G6 or B6 squares, or in English descriptive, King Knight 3, Queen Knight 3. Possible sacrifices on those rook pawns. They're disaster waiting to happen. You could be developing a piece instead. Your piece will help you more than your pawn will. All right. There's one more game. Huh. Let's get into that one. And what move will it start us at? We never know until we press OK. Oh, look at that. Almost at the end. Look at that black king, you say. It's kind of a shame it spoiled that. Okay. Alban counter gambit. And white decides to play his gambit against it. White gives up 2 pawns. Interesting, huh? Black has 8 pawns. White has 6. I don't know how much of this is theory. White gets a little bit of play here. And 1 pawn comes back. And now the other pawn is about to come back. I don't know if white's really gained that much here. Look at the position. Both sides don't have a single developed piece, yet 3 pieces have been traded. Right? Every piece they've developed, they've managed to exchange. It's white's move. He's about to lose castling privileges too, or step into a pin. For instance, if knight e2, rook e8. Call the game about even, but actually maybe black even has a little advantage here. His king is more active. And the king is a fighting piece, they say. Get him out there in the ending. Well, this isn't really an ending, it's a middle game. So black starts getting a little daring with that king. But you know what? Black is probably better here. Black has a clear pawn. Well, I wouldn't say clear. He is a pawn ahead. His king is exposed, but white shouldn't be able to get at it. He shouldn't. This bishop and rook still aren't in the game. The knight's barely in the game. And now the simple, sane, and safe move to play is king c6. And black may very well have the better game here, simply because he's a pawn up. Instead, black gets bold and brings his king up. Why? I don't know. And look at that king run. That's the position we kind of started with. And now it seems like this king's in trouble. So why did he come forward? What's his escape route? For the moment, d3 is covered. The knight can be kicked, but c4 isn't covered. So white checks and gives back d3, but now white plays a very crafty move. You might want to pause the video, see if you can find it. It's not a direct win, but it will lead to one. Okay, you're back. The little crafty move is f3, taking a square away. Okay? Now look at the poor black king. He can't get out on either of those squares because of the white pawns. He can't get out on d4 because his own pawn's in the way. He can't go this way because of the bishop and knight, and he can't go that way because of the knight. Meanwhile, white's got threats here. And I think black has got a forced loss. And it ends quickly. Check. And there's 2 legal moves, and it doesn't matter which one black picks. Whether it goes to e2, well, let's see. I guess it does matter. He goes the quicker way. Now, checkmate. Look at that. The king came all the way down to c7 and got checkmated. So I guess the only other choice was to come here. But I can't see that black is long for the world here. Let's see. How about if we just slide this rook over to b2? Well, might get interesting here. Check. Oh, checkmate. Right? Block the check, give a discovered check, and mate. So Black got a little too frisky with his king. And then he lost the other game on time, right? It was getting interesting. But it's definitely entertaining. It's good to get your king active when you're approaching an ending, but you still have to keep him safe because all kinds of nasty things can happen. And it didn't look like White could create a mating net from this position, but he was able to do it. Why? Because Black sent his king too far. Just king c6 is safe. The knight's now blocking this bishop's development, so where are you going to put the knight? Here? You want to attack a pawn? I'm just trying to find a move. Okay, I'll kick it. Now your knight's in trouble. Where are you going to put it? I'll put it on g3. Oh, look, I get to develop a knight. I can put my knight on f6. And White needs to start thinking about this pawn. He needs to win it back just to have an equal game. Okay, let's go tickle your knight. I'm just kind of having some fun here, trying to figure out what could have happened. Well, no big deal. I'll just put the knight on a nice square. Now I'll go bother your bishop. And I still haven't figured out how to win this pawn back, other than maybe trying to get rid of the bishop. And maybe now I'm going to get some pressure. What can Black do here? Well, he can go attack this knight. Okay, now we'll take it. Maybe we're going to get somewhere here.Maybe we're going to finally win that pawn. Look at that. Now I could probably play better, but it looks like White's going to win that pawn back. We'll have the advantage of a bishop for a knight. It clearly wasn't forced, but this is how you analyze. You check one line out, and you go back and you look for improvement. The more you look for improvements, the more your correspondence chess your skill will increase. Therefore, the more your true tournament chess skill will increase. So, but I'm saying king c6. Let's see. I put the knight there. I moved it, and I developed a piece. Okay, this is logical for Black. Maybe f6 wasn't the right square. Maybe e7 was the right square. Okay, attacked it, put it there. Now, what if I just, instead of developing my rook and attacking your knight, what if I just save my bishop? Okay, now the bishop is holding on to this pawn. Okay, you get a check. Here it comes. Here's your check. And I'm going to put my king here. And nothing's guarding my knight now, but White doesn't have anything to attack the knight, unless you want to trade it. Let's see. Let's trade it. The reason I'm trading it is because that puts the bishop on f6 to attack the pawn on d4, and it also, for the moment, attacks the rook, but it forces them to develop it. And now White gets another attacker on d4. And maybe White's winning his pawn back. Remember I said White's got to win the pawn back just to hold on, but he doesn't get the bishop versus knight in an open board here. Probably a draw. Black shouldn't lose this. I mean, rook e2 could be played. Give up the pawn. Have an active rook. Rook c8 could be played. Now, White doesn't have time to take. He's got to stop and take here first. And now I don't think he can take on d4, right? Because he gets back ranked. So maybe a step over here. Maybe Black has a chance to save this pawn now. Let's see. Let's attack the bishop. If you take the pawn, I pin it and win it. So, is this forced? I don't know. I'm just analyzing. You analyze. You look at something and then you evaluate it. Well, let's see who's better here. I'm not going to sit here and demonstrate this is the right move, this is the right move. No other move is better than this. That's what a chess computer does. You don't turn a chess computer on to analyze. You analyze and you evaluate. White can't take this pawn unless I'm missing something, and you always have to watch for tricks. See, this is what I see. Now the bishop is pinned. Whoops, white loses. So rook c8 might have been a good, rook c8. White still has problems here. White's not necessarily getting this pawn back. So black got frisky with his king. Anyway, this is an idea how you analyze games. You just look at variations, and something doesn't work, you go back and you look for an improvement for one side and then the other. And I'm sure there's plenty of improvements to be had here. But this whole video is only 20 minutes and 48 seconds, and I've looked at 2 games. This position could be looked at for 5 hours, and all kinds of things could be uncovered from it. And none of this was forced. It all stemmed back to black playing his king to c6 instead of c4, right? Right? That's how it stemmed. I put the king on c6. That's all I did. And since this knight was blocking this bishop, I created a line for it. So what are we going to do? Go attack a pawn? Okay, fine. Go attack a knight. Develop a knight. Okay, let's develop a bishop. This is exactly how I'm analyzing. Find a good square for the knight. Save it. Attack the bishop. Retreat it. Heck, black could even probably play, well, might be able to play this, but maybe white starts getting some pressure with some checks. A whole new thing to analyze. And maybe white had that on my move, or is that what I played? What was I playing on bishop b6 for white? Yeah, I was giving the check. The check's still there if you play the bishop back here. The bishop's a little passive guarding a pawn, but it's a pawn white needs to recover, right? White doesn't recover it, he's down a pawn. And here I was trying to activate the bishop to attack. Maybe knight f6 is not good because of the reasons because of that little rook c8 dinger that came up in a few moves. This is how you analyze. And then you evaluate and decide which one's the best. Just like a chess computer will say, white has a pawn and a half advantage. White has the 3.5 pawn advantage. Well, you can't put an evaluation like that on it, but you can say, hey, I'm ahead a pawn, but he has counterplay. I'm ahead a pawn, he doesn't have counterplay. Well, which one am I going to pick? Well, the one he doesn't have counterplay in. And you don't care if it's a 2.5 pawn advantage or not. You know that he doesn't have counterplay, and you're in control. And if you select the other one where he has counterplay, then you're not in control. You got to be very, very careful. You may still win, but you have to evaluate. All right, I've blabbed enough. Thanks so much for watching my videos. You'll learn a lot if you watch them all. Who's watched them all? A few people have, and they're getting pretty good. Take care now.